In this Motocross How To video, I want to teach you all about the mid-air adjustments you need to know. What's up, Rad family? I'm Dakota Freeman, and welcome to the Rad Adventure Dude channel. If you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, make sure you hit that and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future dirt bike riding tips. It's going to be so important that when we really want to get better at riding motocross and hitting jumps, that we learn the proper mid-air adjustments to correct ourselves in the air. When we're first learning how to hit jumps, it's going to be very important that we already know the proper riding position. The proper riding position is going to be standing up with our knees bent, our head is going to be over our handlebars, and our elbows are going to be up and away from our body. This is the attack riding position, and this is going to be the best riding position for hitting big jumps. When we're first coming up the takeoff, this is going to be one of the most important parts about hitting a jump. If we come off the jump and we're kind of coasting, it's going to really make our front end want to drop. And if we come off the jump and we're in too high of an RPM in our gear and we're almost running out of power, it may want to pick up the front end. So what we really want to do when we're first hitting a jump and coming off the face is going to be make sure we're in the proper gear to where we can accelerate through the face without hitting this high RPM point in our gear and running out of power. And we want to make sure that we're coming in with the proper speed so we can just evenly accelerate all the way off the takeoff. This is going to be the best way to make sure that we have a good even flight all the way through the jump. Also, having our body in this attack riding position as we're coming off the face and throughout our entire flight is going to also keep us centered on the bike to make sure that we keep the bike level in the air. However, even though we try our best to come off the jump in a nice level way, let's go over some mid-air adjustments so that way we know exactly what to do if our flight's not going how we planned. So if we come off this jump and our front end gets too low, what we're going to want to do is actually grab a handful of throttle. By grabbing a handful of throttle on the dirt bike, it actually is going to get all the gears and wheels spinning, and this is actually going to pick up the front end. And this is called using the gyro effect of the motor. With all these wheels spinning and all these gears spinning, it actually is going to want to lift up your front end and help you plane the dirt bike out. So as we come off a jump, if our front end's too low, we really want to make sure that we grab that handful of throttle and try to get the front end up. Whenever we're landing on a dirt bike, we really want to land with our rear wheel first. This is because whenever we land with the rear wheel first, the rear suspension is going to take the most of the impact before the front suspension even touches the ground. This is going to keep your landing and your handlebars much smoother so that you don't have this big impact if you were to land on the front wheel. So make sure you just grab that handful of throttle if your nose is too low, and this is going to pick it up so that you can land on the rear wheel first and keep you much safer. Other mid-air adjustments are going to be to get the front end down. So if we come off the jump and we have too high of an RPM level as we're taking off the takeoff, it's very likely that our front end is going to want to continue picking up throughout the duration of our flight. So to avoid that, as we come off the face, we're going to want to let off the throttle and pull in the clutch. Once you've let the throttle off and you pulled in the clutch, you can now tap your rear brake, and this is going to pull your front end down and level you out. This is going to be a very important tool, especially when we're learning how to ride, because a lot of the times when we come off these jump faces, we're not going to be perfect in the air. So knowing how to adjust in midair is going to be huge to your riding, especially if you want to continue learning how to jump bigger and bigger jumps. Always focus on your dirt bike riding position, as this is going to be a very important part, and focus on your acceleration coming off the takeoff. These two things are going to be the most important part of keeping your flight nice and level so you don't even have to adjust in the air. However, now you know what to do if you come off incorrectly, and you know how to correct them before you land. So to get the front end of the dirt bike up, just grab a handful of throttle, and this is going to help pick the front wheel up. And if you are trying to get the front end down, all you're going to do is let that throttle off, pull in the clutch, and hit the rear brake. This is going to bring that front end down and really level you out. You really want to make sure that you do pull in the clutch before tapping the rear brake, or else your dirt bike will stall in midair. And you really don't want this to happen, because then when you land, it's really going to make for an abrupt landing, and it's going to be much harder on your body and your bike. So avoid that by pulling in the clutch before you hit that rear brake. Is this video already helping you with your dirt bike riding and you know how to make these mid-air adjustments? Well, make sure you like this video and drop some comments down below and ask me any other questions that you have. Other things we can do while we're in mid-air to adjust our dirt bikes is going to be shifting gears. If you're coming off a jump and you're going to be landing into a corner, you're actually going to want to use your gears to shift down. This way that when you land on the jump and you're coming into this corner, you already have your engine brake applied and you're going to already be on the brakes as you're landing. I always say that we normally want to land with the throttle on, and this is going to make sure that you have a safer and smoother landing as you land. However, whenever we're landing into a corner like this, we're not always going to be able to do that. So if we're shifting down and getting set up for our corner in midair, we can also adjust our bike by kind of whipping a little bit towards the corner. As we do this in midair, we're actually going to already have our bike set up to land where we're already going to be going into the corner. Since we shifted down, we're going to be landing and the engine brake's already going to be applied. So make sure you use your upper body to kind of brace for this as you're landing. It's not going to be super aggressive, but you should know when you're landing after shifting down that you're going to have that torque coming through the motor. And this is just something you want to look out for whenever you're landing. Then once you land and you're coming into that corner, get on your brakes to stop before you get in that corner. And this is really going to help you get around that corner as fast as possible. This is also great for if you're jumping a big jump, and if you're landing really fast, it might be hard to get to an inside rut, and you might have to go all the way around the outside of the turn after hitting this jump. If you're shifting down and landing on the brakes into this inside rut, this may slow you down enough to where you can then land and get on the inside rut, which will really save you time out on the tracks. And if we're looking for more speed as we land, we're going to want to come off this jump and then shift up in the air. As you shift up, make sure you use the throttle to kind of accelerate a little bit even in the air, as it's going to pick your RPMs up before you land on your dirt bike. When you land like this, you always want to make sure that you have the throttle on, so this way that the wheel's spinning as you hit, and it actually helps you accelerate when you land. This will also keep you much smoother when you land, as all the wheels are spinning and helping you accelerate, which will then straighten you out as well. So when you're landing off a jump after shifting up, or any time that you're landing on a jump without going into a corner, then you're always going to want to make sure that you have the throttle on to keep your bike as straight as possible. And always focus on your dirt bike riding style, as it's going to be such an important part when we're jumping. If you're jumping in the proper riding position and you're coming off this face with the proper acceleration, then everything else going on in midair can be avoided, and you're not going to even have to make an adjustment. However, if something goes wrong, you now know the midair adjustments that you need to make. As you get more and more comfortable in the air, you're going to soon realize that you can also use your body weight in the air to make these adjustments as well. It's going to be a lot harder if our front wheel's already going up or dropping really fast, and you're going to have to use what I talked about earlier in this video. However, if you're getting more comfortable and you're jumping in a nice central location and the bike's pretty close to where it should be, and nice and level when you're jumping, you can now use your body to actually push on the bars if you want your bike to go a little bit forward, or be able to pick up on the bars in the air to kind of adjust without having to use the rear brake or the throttle. So these are going to be great techniques once we're getting more comfortable with jumping, and it's really going to help you not even have to make these other midair adjustments. So make sure you practice this over time, as it's going to be something we definitely don't learn as a beginner. But as you want to race motocross and become a better motocross rider, you're really going to have to instill all these tips into your riding. So in the middle of a race, if you come off a jump and something's going wrong, you're going to naturally know exactly what to do. Rad family, I'm so proud of you for taking this time to learn how to ride a dirt bike in the best way possible. If you're still looking for more dirt bike riding tips, I'm always here. I've made a full dirt bike riding course over on my website. It's going to take you from being a complete beginner and walk you through being an advanced rider, mastering the tracks and trails. I also give away a free dirt bike guide over on my website. All you have to do is sign up for my newsletter. I'll send it right to you. If this video helped you make midair adjustments on your dirt bike, make sure you like this video and drop some comments down below. Ask me any other questions that you have. Make sure you click the subscribe button that's right here and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future dirt bike riding tips. After that, you can watch my next video right here. Stay rad, and I'll see you over there.